Then he got the coaches to go over there and start doing it. And we had a period where they could do it. But he did something that I thought was genius. Mike Lambeth, now he's meticulous. He can be a horse's rear end sometimes. I love him. But Mike was a great judge of talent. I mean, he knew what talent looked like. So Mike said, Boz, I'll go over there, leave his job at the high school, go to middle school, and he says, I'll run the weight program over there. And so Mike had every kid, he tested them, and he's something with numbers and exact and all that. He tested every single kid. And then he even put him in what he thought would be a position. And then brought those names back, and in the summer, we took every single kid and we put them in an offensive position and a defensive position. It wasn't over, well, I think I'm going to play this. No, you're this. Now, they may grow themselves out of that, or they may be able to play something else better, but we started them there. But what that did, when that kid walked in that first day, because of what those middle school coaches did, they knew where to line up, how to line up, what the technique was, how to play the base. And boy, did that pay off. Now, how did you get those middle school coaches to do some of the things they did? Because they ran the same thing we did. The middle school coaches came over for the 3 weeks of preseason 2-a-day practices. They weren't paid, but they came over and they went with the position coach. The running back coach went with Billy. The defensive line coach went with me. The end coach went with Bart. They all went with us, and they watched us in the drills. And they went back and they did what we did. But you see, he took those middle school coaches. A, they dressed like we did. B, they ate the pregame meal just like we did. C, they stood on the sidelines on Friday night just like we did. When we went to the clinic, they went to the clinic. And by treating them like he treated them, they would have died for him. And they did exactly what he did, what he said. What do you do for Kannapolis? You know, people talk about Kannapolis. That's where Dale Earnhardt's from. Oh yeah, that's where the mill is, Cannon Mills. After Boz got here, it became, oh, I'm from Kannapolis. Oh, you're where they got that football. Or people from Kannapolis or somewhere else. And they said, where are you from, Kannapolis? Yeah, that's where we got big time football. You know, we got these kids, we got those kids. Because all that changed when Boz came. Memorial Stadium was the place to be on Friday night. We had to stop Channel 9 and Channel 3 because they wanted to land on the 50-yard line of the field. And they were certain, and neither one of them would give in their helicopters. And we had to pass a rule. Ernie Bacon sent them a letter, made them mad, and said, you got to land on the practice field. Because they were literally fighting to do that. We had to lock the gates because at 12 o'clock, people would drive up there and take towels out and put towels down to reserve their seats. All because of what Boswell built. Dorman called Bob. Dorman was nothing but a bigger version of Kannapolis. The Dorman superintendent retired and worked for me for a while, so I know a lot about Dorman. David Gutshaw, who beat in '89 for the state championship, is still the coach at Dorman today. And they made Boz a heck of an offer, and he took it for 3 days. So Bob, George Kaiser, and I invited him over to the house, went out on the deck, cooked a steak, had 4 or 5 Pepsis, and we're sitting there, and Boz looks at us, he says, y'all think I don't know what you're doing. What are you talking about, Boz? I know what y'all trying to do. Y'all trying to get me drunk, get me crying, snot running out of my nose, and saying, well, I don't think I'm going to go. He said, but I'll beat you to the punch. I called him today and told him I ain't coming. I said, you got to be kidding me. He said, no, I've already told him. He said, what do you think Dr. Bradshaw said if I wanted my job back? I said, I don't know, but I'll call him. He said, he's not here. I said, I know. He's at Carolina Inn down there in Chapel Hill. I said, I know what room he's in. I called Dr. Bradshaw. Hey, Pete. I said, Dr. Bradshaw, I got Coach Bob here with me. Yeah? I said, he wants to talk to you just a second. Okay, put him on. Bob said, Dr. B? He said, yeah, Bob. He said, what would you say first of all, he said, Dr. B, what have you done with my resignation? He said, it's still in my desk. And he said, well, what would you say if I asked you if I could come back? And Dr. Bradshaw said, I'll never forget it, we'd kill the fatted calf. And he said, Bob, come back into my office Monday morning and we'll tear up your resignation. And he did.